making $20,000 every single month change in your life? For most people watching this, it will change everything you possibly thought of what your life can be and what it's destined to be. And what I'm going to show you today is exactly the 7 steps on how you can do a one-man operation wholesaling real estate business, virtual or in person, next month to make $20,000. So if you're ready to make $20,000 a month with this one-person solo wholesaling operation, let's get into it. So I'm going to assume you're doing virtual wholesaling, local wholesaling, like just look at wholesaling real estate in general, right? And when you look at this business, you got to be in the right market. X marks the spot. And more specifically, if you are in the wrong market, right? So we're going to get the little grass, we're going to get kind of the areas right. If you are in the right area where all the deals are at, where all the buyers want to buy, and where you can get discounted properties, that is where you need to be at. The problem is so many other wholesalers are in all these different little areas, right? Where, yeah, you get really good, do D for deals. You get really good deals, but none of the buyers are wanting to buy in that area. They want to buy in this area. So you want to be in the areas where the buyers want to buy, but also you want to have an area where there's deals. More specifically, everybody wants to buy a wholesale deal in San Francisco. It's a very hot real estate market. People pay millions of dollars for tiny little stupid houses. But the problem is there's not many sellers willing to sell at a discount there. So this is why you have to be in the perfect market for both. So you have to be number one here in the right market. And again, if I have to give anybody watching this a rule, you want to be over 100,000 people in the county. And then you want to also be under $500,000 for the average home price. So we're at the average home price for that county. If you can find both of them, you are going to be in the right wholesaling market, which is step one of how to make $20,000 a month. Now, the coolest part about making $20,000 every single month with a wholesaling real estate system like this is you do it solo. You do it by yourself. You're not needing other people or marketing systems, or you don't have to pay anything for this. But the one thing we have to make very, very clear is to make $20,000 a month, we have to work. This gift is not given to us by just sitting on our butt all day doing nothing. So before I go into step 2, I want you to make it a rule. First, like this video and comment below that you are ready to make a change in your life. If you say you are not going to do it, or you're going to say you're going to try to do it, it doesn't get done. It only gets done when you make the decision that you are going to start getting rich. So make the change right now. Let's make some money wholesaling. Step 2, don't want to get creepy here, but we need to get eyeballs. Eyeballs is where all the money in wholesaling real estate is. More specifically, if we can get the eyeballs on our message that we're looking to buy properties for cash, we get deals. So number 2 here is all about getting eyeballs. Now, I know it's kind of a weird thing to say and a weird concept, but if I have 100 people that actually saw that I'm looking to buy their house for cash and they were on a probate or a pre-foreclosure list, I have a good chance of getting a deal. If I had 100 people that I called and nobody picked up and never saw my text or message, that's not an eyeball. I had people say, Zach, I called 500 leads. Why didn't I get a deal? I said, how many of those people picked up? They're like, oh, like 6. I'm like, so it was 6 people that you were talking to, not 100. It's all about the actual person that saw your message. And if they're on the right list, you get the right deal. So it's very important to have the quote, right marketing. If we can master these 2 concepts here, we're gonna make this green for money. If you can get the right market and the right marketing, that is the most powerful combination for success in wholesaling. So these 2 are pretty linked. If we're in the right market, so we know we have the right buyers and we're getting the right eyeballs from motivated sellers, we're gonna start making money. Now, what type of eyeballs do we wanna see? Well, we want to see motivated eyeballs, right? People that are in distressed situations. So this can be, I don't know if I have enough room here, but probates, right? Pre-foreclosures. We can go to like X leads and pull a list. We can drive for dollars, right? There's so many ways to find deals, right? And in my free wholesaling course, freewholesaling.com, and it's also my free community, we teach you exactly how to pull these lists the right way. I can go on, right? I love code violations. We can pull some liens, people not paying their taxes, right? I mean, we can just go on, but like if we have people that are on these motivated type lists not paying their mortgage, We want them to see our message. And our message is clear. We're looking to buy properties for cash. Are you interested in a cash offer on your house? Nothing else matters. And a lot of people talk about making 1,000 calls. Well, how many of those people picked up the phone and heard our message? How many of those people saw our text? Because people send text, but someone actually read it and look at it. It's all about the eyeballs, baby. Now, number 3 here. This is important. But how do we deliver that message to those people with the eyeballs, right? We know exactly the type of people we need to deal with. How do we go and find these people? Well, this one's pretty simple. Now, I'm going to try to draw this the best way I possibly can. We're going to do a very simple system I call ground and pound. Now, the point of ground and pound here is it's like a MMA term, right? You throw them on the ground and you start smacking them from on top. That's a pretty good strategy for fighting people. Now, the thing about this is we are going to pound the phones. More specifically, calling and texting. I wish I could tell you, go spend $9 grand on Facebook ads and that's how you do it, son. But guys, the reason we're looking to make 20 grand a month is so we can get the money. We have no money. What do? Maybe we have a little bit of money. Maybe you have $100, right? Yeah, you can get a dialer, right? You go to XLeads, use that stuff, but we're gonna have to do brute force, especially when it comes to a solo operator. So how do we do this, right? We are going to obviously cold call. If we have the cash, we're gonna use like a dialer, right? XLeads has one for free inside of there. We're gonna do some SMS. A lot of us are going to be using Google Voice for this. You can skip trace on XLeads, or you can just do basically truepeoplesearch.com, right? And this is how we're grounding and pounding, right? We're calling, we're sending text, we're using Google Voice for free, right? We can use the dialer if we want. We can use XLeads for skip tracing. We use the free skip tracing tools. It's ultimately up to you how we're going to do this. Now, we want to have some key performance indicators, and more importantly, I think a good look is about 10 to 15 hours every single week would be a good key performance indicator of if we're doing enough ground and pound. Now, for calls, that's probably going to be around 400 for the week if you're doing it by yourself. And for text, you're probably going to be roughly around 350 if you do it the right way for the week. Now, if you have a dialer, you could probably bring that to 600, maybe even 700 or 800, but I'm just guessing solo, right? Roughly, this is how much we should be ground and pounding the tack. Now, I'm running out of room here, but if you want a bonus, right, like a quick bonus for getting more deals, if you're drawing for dollars and you see an ugly house, right, I've talked about this before, go buy a sticky note for $1 and just put, hey, this is Zach, I had a quick question about your property, then put like your phone number on the bottom. Get them inbound, say, oh, I got a call. You said you can put on the sticky note like, hey, this is Zach, I had a quick question about my property. Please give me a call back. And they're calling like, oh, you got a question about my property? Yeah, me and my partner were driving around the area and this looks like a property that we might want to buy. Are you interested in selling it at all? Pretty simple, pretty easy. Another fun thing you can do with this is you can get a list of, let's say, the pre-foreclosures, drive to that person's house that has the pre-foreclosure, put a sticky note on the door. You can do that for like 30, 40, or 50 for the month. It's a great inbound lead strategy for wholesaling because if we can hit the ground and pound these leads with these type of lists in the right market, doing at least 10 to 15 hours of that marketing a week, we are set to make money. This system is simple. Now, that's not all it takes to make 20 grand a month, right? There's a little more we need to do. The next part is what I call deadly follow-up. Now, it kind of looks like the recycling logo, but we're taking a lead that is not interested or possibly interested, and we just keep talking to them. Okay, and then boom, you go again, and you just keep going again in a cycle of follow-up. And we're calling this deadly follow-up. And the reason why it's deadly follow-up is we do not stop following up with our leads until they don't want to ever talk to us again or they sign a contract. Especially when you have motivated sellers, especially when you have good deals, especially when you're in the right market, you have to be deadly with your follow-up. So if anybody gives you the slightest indication that they're a motivated seller and they want to sell it and they're on any of these lists, you are going to call them every single day, especially when they first tell you they're interested, right? So probably one time a day, and then maybe we bring it to one time a week. And if they're not interested, right, we can do it one time a month. But until they decide they never want to speak to us ever again, this is the cycle of success. So one a day, right? We do the one a day. We do one a week on the next one, and then one time a month from there. that is going to be our follow-up cycle. And I know it seems extreme. I know it seems deadly, but this is how you beat your competition, especially when they're dealing with other wholesalers. We're going to do what they are not willing to do. This is how we have success that nobody else in the industry can possibly have. And I know that sounds crazy, but this is how we get an income that is more than any other wholesaler. And really, it's 5x the average salary in the United States. And sometimes we've got to work a little harder. And this isn't like a 100-hour work week type thing. Like, guys, you can easily do this in 30, 40, 50 hours. Now, once we have an eyeball that's motivated, once we hit them with the ground and pound, and once we follow up, they're going to be interested in selling their property. And this is when we hit them with the offer. Now, the offer is about having that conversation about money. Now, let's make this look a little better here. But we want to give the offer. That is what the step 5 is all about. Give an offer to the seller to offer to buy their house. I know this sounds crazy, but if you just make the offers, you make the money. In wholesaling, you do not make money. You don't get contracts until you get offers. What you really want to do is make it a low offer. Now, I know I get attacked from people all the time, but this is how you get the real cash. And this is how you go from doing no deals to 10 grand a month to 20 grand a month. And really, if you're scared to make lowball offers and you're making 20 grand a month, if you start doing lowball offers, you're probably gonna make 40 grand a month. You never know what the seller's lowest price they're willing to take until you offer it. And I'm telling everyone, make a low offer, use the scripts we teach at wholesaling.com. I like the good cop, bad cop. You can do just a regular lowball. You can do the dollar bill method, right? There's so many ways to offer a seller a lowball offer. But as long as it's just an offer and it's low and you know how to handle the objections and you have the right type of seller with the right type of marketing and follow-up, and you're not scared, right? If you give a lowball offer, they say no, and you know how to follow up with deadly precision, you're going to have deals and you're never going to stop doing deals, honestly. Make sure the offer's good and make sure it's low. Make sure you believe in yourself. Make sure you don't sound scared. Go through the free course and you're going to be set for success here. Now, the next part about making a good business here is being able to sell your deal. More specifically, the contract. Now, this is kind of like my flames, right, in wholesaling. And what you really need to do is emphasize the sale of the contract as basically a fire sale. So we're going to sell the contract. Now, the thing is, I think a lot of wholesalers look at selling the contract as selling like a Chevy Malibu or like a beat up Toyota Corolla, when you're selling a Ferrari, you're selling a Lamborghini, a McLaren, right? These things kind of sell themselves. What I mean by this is, if you bring somebody who's making 100 grand a year, they're not going to want to buy my Lamborghini Aventador. And of course, they're going to test drive it, but we're not even going to let them test drive it if I don't think they have the money, right? And the thing is, if you have a guy who's just rich, maybe he just made $14 million from a rookie contract in the NBA, and he wants to get a Lamborghini, he's going to come to me, and he's going to want to buy a Lamborghini. And he has the right clientele for this. I see a lot of wholesalers try to sell their contracts, right, their wholesaling deals, to buyers that, first of all, are not qualified. They're not the right type of buyer, and they're maybe looking to steal your deal, and they're the grocery store manager looking to buy a Ferrari. No, they just want to test drive the thing and take some social media pictures. You got to sell your contract to the right person. And it's really important as wholesalers, we know how to sell it, because we are selling contracts to properties for severe discounts to our buyers. It's like selling a Lamborghini for 30% off they can get from the dealership. Like, it's an insane deal. So to the right person, it's an insanely good deal. To the wrong person, it's a terrible deal. The thing is, if you talk to like 4 or 5 buyers, right? So let's do buyer 1, buyer 2, buyer 3, and buyer 4, right? We have a contract. I might send the deal to buyer number 1, and he might tell me, oh my gosh, you have a terrible deal. You need to get it for 40 grand below. Maybe I go to buyer number 2 who's looking to rent it out and be like, wow, that's a great deal. I'll take it right now. You might find number 2 says, oh, that's a great deal. I'll take it right now. This guy says, oh my gosh, this is the worst deal I've ever seen. You got to get it for 100 grand below. You're terrible. You don't know what you're doing. You're a stupid wholesaler. What do I do in this situation? Do I say, oh man, I got a terrible deal? Or do I be like, hey, these 2 guys don't want to buy it, but these 2 people think it's a good deal. What is the price of something? What somebody else is willing to pay for it. So just because some buyers don't think it's a deal doesn't mean it's a bad deal. But if all 4 say it's a bad deal, it's probably a bad deal. But if all 4 say it's a great deal, it's a good deal. So what we got to understand is, Sometimes when it comes to selling the contract, it's not about getting our first buyer and only dealing with one. Maybe you need 3 or 4 and figure out what's good or not. Now, you don't want to give the addresses. You want to make sure they're qualified right. But you first have to understand that it's not just one buyer that determines the value of the deal. It's what the mean or the average of most buyers, and we got to take the best one for the deal for it to be good. We are selling these deals at fire sales, massive, massive discounts. And last but not least, we have to cross our T's and dot our I's. Most importantly, do our checks. And this is the part of wholesaling nobody wants to talk about. Just because we got the assignment signed, we got the seller on board, doesn't mean just sit around, wait for the closing day, collect our check, and go crazy. We need to make sure we get a couple things straight. Number one, we still need to follow up, right? We still need to follow up with the buyer. We still need to follow up with the seller, making sure they're still good for everything, right? Because I see a lot of people get assignment signed, they wait 2 weeks, don't call the seller, and the seller thinks, oh, I didn't know you were gonna buy it. I know it sounds stupid, but it happens. So follow up with the seller and buyer still. On top of this too, we have to keep marketing. If you get all happy because you got the assignment, you're set to make 15 grand this month, and you got another deal, now you have 2, maybe at 25, 30, you don't stop the ground and pound. You keep doing that while signing and getting offers. You do not stop marketing. You keep the pace because that is what's getting you the deals. Now, this is a system to do this every single month, and next month's deal is going to come from the marketing you do now. So keep marketing, keep following up with the sellers. On top of this too, add more marketing when you can. What I mean by this is if you're making 20 grand a month and you're doing it just from calling, code violations, and drawing for dollars, go invest in a dialer or a system, or just go to Google Voice and do some more texting, right? And if you're getting all these deals from just calling, why don't you start texting lists? Then you could start increasing that 20 grand a month. And eventually, by yourself, you can start getting like VAs for your marketing. You start getting better tools and systems, and you start making more. But this all happens from you going out here and believing in yourself. Now, the last part about the checks, right, and just making sure that you get the deal done, is you control the title company. Because eventually you're going to start doing JV deals, and you're going to have a buyer that's going to want to use their title company. If you do not control the title, you do not control the deal. So if you have a JV deal or a buyer wants to use their title company, do not allow it. Use your title company, because if you control the title, you control the deal. And just don't stop the marketing. That's probably the most important part of this thing. So to make $20,000 a month, it's a pretty simple process here. We got to be in the right market, right? We got to make sure we're over 100,000 for the county, for the population. We want a decent amount of deals. We want it to be under $500,000 for the average home price. We want to get a ton of eyeballs on our deals. What I call this is the right marketing. So it's important to have the right market, but it's equally as important to have the right marketing. If you're doing the right marketing on the wrong market, you won't get it. If you're in the right market with the wrong marketing, you ain't going to get a deal. You have to get both of these correct. And it's all about getting the eyeballs of motivated sellers. Now, we're going to ground and pound 10, 15 hours a week. We want to roughly be around 400 calls for the week, maybe 350, maybe 400 texts. Remember, go to wholesaling.com, my call scripts, my text scripts, all that's in the community. And just use the free tools starting out so you can start getting deals. Now, this is really important, the part not many people are talking about, but this is deadly follow up. We're gonna be following up leads every day till they're hot. Now, if they start getting less hot, we're gonna do once a week and then once a month, but we're not making it any less than that. They might be like, well, how do I follow up? Hey, this is Zach, just checking in. Are you still looking to sell the property? Pretty simple. It's really easy. It's a 5 seconds. And what's the seller gonna do? Oh my gosh, I can't believe Zach cares about me. Whatever. This is all good stuff. Then from there, we get our follow-ups. We're going to get appointments. We're going to get offers. And most importantly, low offers. Lowball them, get good deals, get great contracts. Then we're going to sell that contract, fire sale. We want to find some good buyers, right? And then just make sure that we keep following up with the buyer and the seller in the transaction. We never stop marketing. We add more marketing once we're having more success so it can scale up even more. We're eventually going to get VAs for the calling and texting, controlling the title, and we're a good operation here. Just solo, just so we can get off the tarmac and we're in the plane. 20 grand a month. This is a great operation for wholesaling real estate success. Guys, if you don't join the free community, go to freewholesaling.com. It's also got my free course and all this awesome stuff, my contract, downloads, scripts, tips, tricks, all that stuff's in there. And I'll see you in the next video in here. Guys, make sure you smash the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you soon. This is Zach signing out. Have a blessed one.